Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine? Not from the cold, but from a story so unsettling it feels real. Today, we're diving into one such tale. It has the story about a place forgotten by time and a secret that refused to stay buried. Our story begins in a small, isolated town called Blackwood Creek, nestled deep within a sprawling, ancient forest. For generations, the townsfolk lived simple lives, their days governed by the rising and setting of the sun. But they all shared one unspoken rule: never, ever venture into the old abandoned manor on the hill after dark. The Blackwood Manor had stood empty for over a century, a skeletal silhouette against the moonlit sky. Ivy choked its stone walls, and broken windows stared out like vacant eyes. Legend had it that the original owners, the Blackwood family, had vanished without a trace one fateful night. No one knew what happened. Some whispered of a curse, others of a family's secret so dark it consumed them whole. Over the years, the manor became a local ghost story, a dare for reckless teenagers, but no one ever stayed long. The oppressive silence and the feeling of being watched always drove them away. Our protagonist is a young, ambitious journalist named Ethan, skeptical by nature. Ethan saw Blackwood Manor not as a haunted house, but as the perfect subject for a groundbreaking documentary. He believed the legends were just that, stories spun from fear and superstition. He was determined to uncover the rational explanation behind the family's disappearance and debunk the town's myths once and for all. Arriving in Blackwood Creek, Ethan was met with a mixture of suspicion and polite warnings. The locals were friendly but tight-lipped. "Some things are best left alone, son," the old innkeeper told him. His eyes filled with a gravity Ethan dismissed as small-town drama. Undeterred, Ethan set up his equipment: cameras, audio recorders, motion sensors, ready to spend a week inside the infamous manor. The first day was uneventful. Ethan explored the dusty, cobweb-filled rooms, marveling at the preserved decay. Furniture lay draped in white sheets, like ghosts frozen in time. Portraits of the Blackwood family lined the grand hallway, their painted eyes seeming to follow his every move. He found nothing out of the ordinary, just dust, silence, and the creaks of an old house settling. He filmed his first log entry that evening, a confident smirk on his face. "Day 1, and the only spirits I've encountered are the ones in my flask," he joked to the camera. But as night fell, the atmosphere began to shift. The temperature inside the manor dropped dramatically, and a deep, unsettling silence descended. So profound it felt like a physical weight. Ethan's sensitive audio equipment started picking up faint whispers, too low to be deciphered, like the rustling of dry leaves. He chalked it up to wind whistling through the broken panes, but a seed of doubt began to sprout. On the second night, things escalated. A child's laughter echoed from the end of a long, dark corridor. Ethan grabbed his camera and flashlight, his heart pounding in his chest, and rushed towards the sound. But the hallway was empty. He checked his motion sensors. Nothing had been triggered. Later that night, as he reviewed the footage, he saw it. For a split second, a small, shadowy figure darted across the frame, just at the edge of the light. It was there and gone in a blink. The laughter on the audio was clearer now, chillingly so. His skepticism began to crumble, replaced by annoying fear. Driven by a mix of terror and journalistic obsession, Ethan delved deeper. He discovered a hidden study behind a bookshelf, untouched for a century. Inside, he found the diary of Elias Blackwood, the patriarch. The entries started normally, detailing daily life, but they soon took a dark turn. Elias wrote of a shadow that had attached itself to his youngest daughter, Lily. He described it not as a ghost, but as something else, something ancient and hungry that fed on joy and life. The diary detailed the family's descent into madness. Lily grew pale and withdrawn. Talking to an imaginary friend she called Mr. Giggles, the other family members began to see things, to hear whispers. Elias wrote of trying to fight the entity, of locking doors and boarding windows. But the shadow was already inside, not just in the house, but in their minds. The final entry was a frantic, terrifying scrawl. "It wants us all. It promised to play a game. A game of hide and seek. We hide. It seeks. Forever. God help us." Suddenly, the whispers Ethan had been hearing made sense. The child's laughter. It was Lily. A cold realization washed over him. The Blackwoods hadn't vanished. They were still there. They were hiding. Just as Ethan finished reading the last page, all his equipment simultaneously died. The manor was plunged into absolute darkness and silence. Then, a child's voice whispered directly behind him, "Ready or not, here I come." Ethan's documentary was never finished. He was never seen again. When police finally entered the manor weeks later, responding to a missing person report, they found his camera on the floor of the study. The battery was dead, but the memory card was intact. The final clip was just 30 seconds of pure blackness. You can hear Ethan's panicked breathing, the sound of running footsteps, and then a child's gleeful giggle, followed by a single, blood-curdling scream, and then silence. To this day, the Blackwood Manor stands on the hill, waiting. The townsfolk say that sometimes, on a quiet night, you can still hear the faint sounds of a game being played inside. A timeless, terrifying game of hide-and-seek, with one more player who never wanted to join. They say the manor is always looking for new playmates. This story serves as a chilling reminder that some doors are best left unopened, and some secrets are best left buried. The line between legend and reality can be terrifyingly thin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy diving into the unknown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe out there.